and send us home early today.
Maybe Dignitas, unfortunately, would be the recipient of that same treatment, but let's see if they can hold on here. It is reverse sweep or nothing for Dignitas if they want to push themselves to their first ever final.
They have happened. Let's initiate reverse sweep narrative now, because Team Dignitas are definitely in need of it. They're starting it off here with the classic LeBlanc and Rakan bans, holding those over once again from game number 2.
Yeah, and it's same sides as last game, so you wonder how much Team Dignitas will be forced to adapt here. TSM can just go with exactly the same bans. I think they were pretty happy about how Twitch Kog'Maw worked out. The fact that they've reordered their bans between Trist and Kalista could tell you a little bit, but then allowing Kalista to be first picked without having Trist up would be a little bit perplexing, so I would expect a Kalista as the final ban from TSM.
We'll see if Dignitas follows suit as well, banning away that Ashe. They've hit every game so far of the series.
I think if anything, they drop that ban, but they keep it. So no changes in ban phase for Dignitas, which is a little confusing to me, but they'll switch it up somewhere else.
So one area also that we were probably looking at for them to switch it up would be around the mid lane maybe. But it's hard to come up with a way to actually tilt that in favor of Keen, unless you are changing the way your jungler is going to play and get a more aggressive jungler and have him attack Bjergsen, or get earlier roams from your support to come attack him, because it really does feel like Bjergsen can hold no problem and keep up this pressure with sort of any sort of matchup that they're able to get for Keen.
Yeah, that's really what it feels like as well. And then if you're red side, you always have the option of a counter pick. Whether or not Dignitas early picks it, you lock it in before the second phase of ban, so they don't even get extra bans to throw at you. And the manner hover of Nunu by Svenskeren.
I was going to say, if they actually locked in the Nunu, they chose to stay on the same side and would then try and take the same comp that they just beat Team Dignitas with, that would be complete and total obliteration. But not going to be the case.
Instead, Haunter just takes the reverse matchup likely into that top lane, and we'll see how that one works out. Kog'Maw again for double lift. The same bot lane is being taken out of the pool, so kind of follows there. And there's the Thresh pick once more for Adrian as Keen hovers some of his favorite champions.
Some of the classics, definitely well known for all of the counter picks himself.
And the Jarvan Maokai switch up is the tweak so far. Other than that, this draft is following the same pattern, just slightly different pieces.
The Xayah that we have been waiting for, finally gonna rear her head here, and does have that playmaking in combination with Thresh, so the options are definitely there. Try and take advantage of the low mobility of Kog'Maw in that lane. It is a possibility. They also could go for a little bit more early game. Again, the junglers though. Gragas is again left up. I'd be very surprised if he goes through second ban phase again and they don't pick him up again though.
Well, there's Braum kind of as expected there for Bifrost. Does help against a lot of the Thresh and Xayah pressure. But TSM likely turning to the solo lanes now. Although someday securing central top lane already means they do have to be a little careful, and Jace is actually the first ban here.
Yeah, Shrimp has played a lot of jungle Jarvan, so it's actually more likely to be a jungle pick for Dig, even if they can't swap it out, which is why they're also throwing bans at what kind of home run Team Dignitas might try and hit. Someday on tank v tank matchup against Haunter hasn't worked. Hey, what could be a carry that exists against Maokai? Jace would be one. Jax could maybe be another, but at that point, TSM would just be banning out things that could take over the game.
And the analyst has touched on Fiora possibility. That's another one they could throw out there as far as the home runs you're looking for, but you know, Camille is a very similar answer, so they're not going to be able to hit all of them.
Certainly not, as Kassadin is actually the first ban there for Dig. TSM with one more, it's Orianna again, who I think has been hit every single time in this phase of bans. I think even on the same side there.
Cassiopeia still available, Syndra still available, and Gragas still available.
Whoa. And it's Dig who bans the Renekton. That was banned by TSM last time. TSM could have gone Renekton top, Maokai jungle, but they can still go Cassiopeia here. The only thing Dig could do to disrupt TSM from having a near clone of the composition would be to take Gragas here.
But kind of as you said, with the tendencies of the individual players, we expect Shrimp to once again be taking up the Jarvan. I mean, Sunday's got really good games on the champion as well. I just really at the last game, if they weren't going to pick both those champions when they had the opportunity, I don't think they're going to do it again.
Yeah, and we still don't know the answer to what in the world Keen can do against Bjergsen and Bjergsen's Cassiopeia. They've switched it up this time to go again with the Talia from game 1, which was a negative matchup against Kassadin for them.
All right, well, they are going full offense here, Team Dignitas. They've got the Elise to start the snowballs, Talia to roam around if they're able to gain her any sort of room, and definitely some playmaking on bottom side.
And really, for TSM, they kind of look across, and what reason do they have to not take something like Gragas here? Because they want Rek'Sai, might be the answer, and there it is. That's the lock-in for Svenskeren.
Yeah, the only thing that you would say here is because of the Elise matchup in particular, Elise can get some kill pressure on Gragas early if the Cocoon is landed. Rek'Sai has a little bit more immunity to that with being able to tunnel away a bit better, but and be a little bit more immune to counter jungling. That's all I can think of.
I would also say that Rek'Sai, you can use your Tremor Sense for the expected Elise plus top laner bully into a tank top laner. You know, dive. Everyone always talks about, oh yeah, Elise plus, you know, either Renekton or Jarvan or something like that into a tank is always a point, an early game point that you can push. The problem is that that has become so kind of clear and telegraphed to a lot of teams that we've seen a lot of people drop off. But, you know, Rek'Sai with the Tremor Sense, you can actually kind of scout that out from a little bit further away.
We've seen a ton of stability from TSM, kind of all series long. You can see again the extra time they've had to prepare really does show a refined team looking to push towards the finals and go for 10 straight on that count. I think the comp sets themselves up well. They've played a very similar style games 2 and now in game 3. Kassadin was kind of the difference. They were the Shen in the first game, but even in that game, the game looked very stable for them. So TSM are going to have to weather a storm here from Dignitas, and I think it is nice to see that Dig have picked themselves a more aggressive comp because they know the way they played the first few games did not go their way.
I mean, in the first game, they had an aggressive comp, but not the aggressive style. So we'll see if Shrimp goes for that early gank, buff camp, a level 3 Elise, and tries to make things happen.
I think that is what Dignitas has left, but it definitely feels like they've been pushed a little bit sideways from their comfort zone. The Xayah is not the type of hyper carry that Altec has succeeded with super late in games, and even having Someday on Jarvan instead of Shrimp on Jarvan feels a little bit peculiar for them, but it is good to see them make the effort.
Certainly do have to mix things up as Dignitas move out for one of 3 elimination games they could potentially play here in this series. Shrimp is hanging out. We'll find Svenskeren as the Spiderling will check that brush. But we haven't seen too much craziness at level 1, so not expecting many changes here as both teams just happy to kind of play neutral and get vision where they can. Bifrost though moving up is going to spot Adrian, misses the tag on the Winter's Bite, but 10 trinkets still up on both sides, so no deep vision just yet.
Yeah. The early pressure around the top side is one of the most critical things to pay attention to.
And as we said, Rek'Sai, one of the reasons for that possible pick can be a red side clear, or even, as we saw earlier in the season, if you run an Experience Quint, a Raptor into red into Scuttle clear. But Svenskeren is already transitioning onto the bottom side of the map here, and it doesn't look like that is going to be the case.
No, actually, we'll get some help here on the blue buff as well. So he's going to take the Blast Cone over and start that camp.
Yeah, the enemy team won't be able to check runes, but we can. Neither jungler has gone for the Experience Quint in this matchup.
Looks like same side start actually as well. Shrimp took some Raptors, got the red, I believe. That looks like a super leash.
Yeah, both teams are giving bottom lane leashes to their junglers. Shrimp gets a little bit better of the deal. You do have to leave behind the big Raptor in this case, but it gives you a big boost in speed in getting up to that top side. So that very well could be his destination. But we also kind of cautioned against, what are you going to do about this mid lane matchup? Are they going to try and disrupt Bjergsen earlier in the match?
Yeah, and I gotta say, look at the defense from TSM. Bjergsen even returned to the river there to get another ward down. That catches Shrimp doing the Scuttle Crab, so now they know exactly where he is.
They go for the invade, they get the ward down, and just barely catch a glimpse of the Rek'Sai.
More of a glimpse there with the ward, but no early plays by Shrimp, and they also know exactly the location of each other.
It does feel like Dignitas should have a pressure advantage here given their solo lanes are pushing in, but Sven pulls the camp into the brush, and now actually going to go back in onto Shrimp. Bjergsen already roaming around. Shrimp forced to repel early. Flashed in, gets the Unborrow. Shrimp forced to flash out of the way, as well as King gets a nice chunk back in onto Bjergsen, who's forced to burn heal.
Yeah, the skirmish actually doesn't go very poorly for Team Dignitas. They do get the heal out of that mid lane, and Bjergsen will be down one summoner spell.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by Svenskeren flashing forward in that instance, knowing that Elise still had flash and repel up. So a negative summoner spell trade there for TSM. And control of the jungle not given over because they did get the damage out.
Bjerg again just kind of sitting here in the lane, has done an exceptional job on Cassio. It was a great hook from Adrian, finds double lift. I'll take tag, but again, has to put the Unbreakable up. Adrian gonna go in, there's the Ignite, double lift, forced to flash. Firefrost's gonna look for him, but there's the autos. Heal first, flyback is massive, and the last few Qs do not hit.
Oh, so close there for Team Dignitas. Almost able to pull off the 2 versus 2 kill, but Double F escapes with the skin of his teeth.
That would have been huge for their momentum, knowing that jungler has no flash, as well as getting flashes and a kill bottom, but they can't quite convert. A little bit of sidestepping by Doublelift down the stretch, and this is all the TSM wants to do with this lane, is split it out, keep their farm high, and not die. They actually haven't been able to roam out of this lane the last time they played this matchup.
See though, Doublelift does collect the next few pieces of CS. Altec stays actually to try and clean up the rest of the minions, and Shrimp is threatening down the bot side. Doublelift still hasn't gone back. Summonerless Kog'Maw is a pretty juicy target for Elise.
Shrimp also, if he stands still, would not be seen by Svenskeren. He just moves there though, and they did have Rek'Sai in range and burrowed. So now the TSM bottom lane even knows that Shrimp is there, and we don't expect them to push out any further. But again, you don't want to alter your movements too much because you want to waste the jungler's time as much as possible.
Frost standing in front of Doublelift. If he does get hooked, he'd still have the flash away.
Plus, they have Svenskeren in the wings here, right behind them. In case Dignitas overextended, they were prepared for all scenarios. If Dig forced it and they actually expended offensive moves really recklessly to try and force something there, then Sven was there for the counter. Otherwise, they just allowed Doublelift to farm and back out.
Very patient play there from TSM, as Sven does get spotted with this Scry's Bloom, but is able to take down that Wolf Camp, and Shrimp wasted an incredible amount of time trying to convert, but instead goes back, and Boots of Mobility is a pretty obvious sign to what Shrimp wants to be doing this game.
Yeah, and it's what you need to do as Team Dignitas. You have to go around and make plays, but I've been very impressed with TSM's level of defensive play right here. Last picking the Rek'Sai even, for situations like that, where if he was Gragas, he wouldn't have been able to get vision of Shrimp in that brush. He just stood outside of it, Tremor sensed it, so there's no information trade other than the fact that TSM just knows it and buys them so much early game time, which is exactly what they need.
And Haunter comfortably landing right now in the 1v1. Has his bracer already built up, someday with some early components for that Black Cleaver, but Haunter landing surprisingly well. And I do have to say, Haunter has had a pretty strong series from him so far. I think often he gets criticized for being too aggressive, but he's been on point both offensively and defensively this game, which has been kind of the hallmark of TSM's play this series.
Yeah, these two top laners, first and second in all-pro voting, and a lot of the time the top lane ends up turning into this farm fest where they then become the frontliners, but specifically in game 2, Haunter was able to have a carry performance of his own with the Jarvan, now playing the inverted fashion of the matchup and doing quite well.
Also, you can see how much respect Someday's giving to Haunter and giving to Svenskeren. The possibility that the jungler could have been on the top side meant that Someday did not clear out the Tri-Bush Pink ward. He places his own trinket ward, control ward. He places his own trinket ward in the brush with the control ward, but he does not kill it off, even though Haunter's on the minions, because of the fact that Svenskeren could have been there and he doesn't want to have to blow any extra abilities.
See, even there, Bjergsen tries to get the control ward as he moves back down towards that bot side. Digwell looking for a wall. Don't find it there onto the bot side. Good hook. Lands in onto Bio, but not too much damage dealt there to the Braum. And again, Doublelift happy to be farming out evenly here, despite the constant pressure and the pushing in and the jungle attention that Shrimp has shown. If TSM hold on, kind of like game 1, they'll be happy with this game.
Yeah. Team Dignitas has taken some control of the river. You can see with the 2 control wards as well as the blue buff invade. So they are playing off of their advantages. It's just they're not getting any big wins for those advantages.
And that also always feels bad for the team that is so close to creating, you know, some pressure on the bottom side, so close to getting that kill or getting any sort of meaningful gold advantage. If you don't complete though, and you know the recall kind of resets everything there, it really does not mean anything moving forward. Even if you had pressure in your lane for 90% of the early game, as long as TSM are getting their last hits under the turret and not dying.
LTech level 6, though, could maybe get some offensive pressure down. They're going to turn it on to double lift. There's the Feather Storm. Does not get the snare, though. The great pressure still from Dignitas.
Yeah, level 6 spike for Altec. Adrian now 6, so they could still think about making an aggressive play, but that's what Kobe's just talking about. They're so close to getting something. Sometimes that makes you press even harder because you look at the overall scope of the game with pressure not being in mind, and TSM is the ones that are winning.
And even if you look at the CS scoreboard afterwards, sometimes when you're looking for the kills and going for aggressive plays like that, you're sacrificing CS in order to do so. Doublelift actually now, when he's able to pick up this wave, will be above Altec. But Adrian's actually really looking for this kill.
Here's the play. He's trying to set it up. Keen and Shrimp maybe on the way, but it's just Keen. Shrimp's in the river still.
Four sums here for the dual lane of TSM. Shrimp a little late. They're going to try and clear the way. The SAP flash play there from Adrian, but he's going to get stunned. Tower's on him, and first blood goes over to Fire from someone. Living for a little while longer, but Altec finally gets the kill. Haunter, follows Shrimp. Gets the other kill, and Doublelift even collects it. Bjergsen flashes on top of Kane, and he is going to flash over the wall. Bjergsen barely able to kill him, but Hansa still chasing. Needs to be careful, waits it out, and gets the Q for the kill.
TSM saw that one coming, it looks like, and the counter is there.
TSM strikes again. They were 2v1ing the top lane when that play arrived, so the fact that they get first blood as well as the push off the top lane turret, and Doublelift even gets a kill on the back end with his passive, spells disaster for Team Dignitas.
Yeah, as soon as Adrian reveals himself, the TSM cogs start to turn. Top side, they chase off Someday, allowing Haunter to teleport in and turn the tide, but Shrimp, he got it!
Does steal it away, a little early for Spen on the smite. And that's huge. Infernal Drake is so good in this game.
Those Moby boots, if you need a little bit of hope in the game, getting a Drake steal like that on an Infernal can give it to you. That's a potentially huge moment.
And then they have the Thresh Lantern to get him out afterwards. Definitely a little bit of hope there for Team Dignitas, but if we look back at this replay, it's not going to be a similar story.
Adrian misses Flay and Hook as King comes in, and then Shrimp is lagging behind, but they want to make the play happen, so he then flashes for his play. But he gets Braum stunned in the turret. Chain with the knockup, and Shrimp then with the exhaust takes a long time to burst out Doublelift.
And if you look at the mini-map, you get the story of the top lane side. It was Svenskeren and Haunter who had chased Someday all the way down to that second turret. So that's why Haunter got to join in and turn the tides of this little bottom skirmish, whereas Someday had to go back to base. Then Shrimp, Blast Cone, and a Dark Passage mean he doesn't have to burn any summoners, doesn't have to get any... Oh man, that was actually just an early smite by Sven.
Yeah, the Dragon did heal up by about 150 health right before Svenskeren's smite.
You have to come to... Well, never mind.
Oh my god, Bjergsen with a great stun, still grounded. King and he gets solo killed. Perfection.
Control wars in the river, and Keen just not respecting the position. You can't face check like that if you lose track of a Cassiopeia when you have no summoner spells.
TSM a little grumpy, I think, about losing that Infernal Drake. Starting to play a lot more aggressive. Haunter even in onto Someday. The Shrimp staying camped here in the bot side. Bifrost gonna face check. Finds the bad news, gets hooked and bursted down. Shrimp able to claim that kill. Spin a little late for the counter gank.
Same thing over to Bifrost. He had his summoner spells, so he was confident, and he had Svenskeren in the back pocket, but the burst damage that can come out of an Elise is very real.
Definitely have to commend Team Dignitas for continuing to look for those openings, the sneaky plays here, waiting in the brush on the bottom side, waiting for Bifrost to come to them, securing the kill, securing the tower, which, by the way, is first tower bonus and almost catches them back up in gold.
Value artillery there from double cancels 2 recalls, but Altec's still going to go back and spend that solo bonus turret gold he just received. TSM did what they could to weather all that bot side pressure, but Dignitas very persistent, able to take down that turret and give themselves not quite a gold lead, but a good burst of gold to give Altec what he really needed in the last game, which was enough farm to try and take over this mid game.
Yeah, and you were seeing what they were working towards kind of come to fruition right there. All the pressure down bottom side was engineered to get them the first turret and a kill onto Altec, or just to have the Elise camp a lane down there and get the instant burst onto a Braum. So they kind of pulled it off, but the gold they gave initially to TSM, or rather the gold that TSM took from them with the turret dive that was a failure, keeps TSM alive even when their duo lane loses the turret.
Well, Adrian looking for a hook. Bjergsen is the target, and it's good. Storm's gonna land through Bjergsen. No cleanse and no hope there. Shrimp with the assassination.
Nice combo there from Team Dignitas. Adrian created some plays there around the mid lane, and they're going to use it to pressure down turret number 2.
Great pick there by Team Dignitas. Control wards had been moved to the top river, and the skill shots are true right there. Bjergsen not going cleanse even against Elise Thresh. A lot of Cassiopeia's wood has the faith to dodge those skill shots, unable to do it there.
Yep, TSM trying to defend it. Another hook landing on Despair. The knockback there. Huge amount of CC, and Shrimp grabs another.
Adrian and Keen are on point right now. Another pick, another combo, and another turret, possibly.
But a flanking Haunter with a long-range ultimate.
Doesn't go that far, man.
Dignitas have to be careful. There's one root, lands onto a couple, but you're right, the range isn't quite there. Knock up on the Keen with a Glacial Fish is going to find him, but Dignitas just walk away.
That does stop them from taking the turret, though. The threat of the Maokai behind them and not an all-the-way engage pushes them off, but that's the threat the Team Dignitas has on this team. Thresh hooks into Elise Cocoons, into seismic shoves is a one-shot on pretty much everyone on TSM. Maybe not Maokai at this point. No QSSs, no cleanses are able to be acquired by TSM right now, so Team Dignitas needs to keep running those plays, just switch the lane, and do it again.
We'll watch this one again. Adrian again.
Ward's over, sees him.
Notice the double control wards that allow Adrian to get into this position. So Bjergsen has no idea he's there. He would have to react to the animation of the hook coming out of Fog of War, which is pretty much impossible for humans.
Yep. As soon as he saw the ward down, he knew a hook would be coming at him, but he didn't get to see the origin.
Wall fight happening. Bjergsen looking for Shrimp. Knock up there on Sven. Not going to secure it yet with the repel, but Haunter's got in. Again gets a shot there with a long-range twisted advance, and Altec forced to flash out from under TSM. Someday looking for the flank, but it's 5v2 right now as Someday looking at Dunkspence go, and he takes him down. Picks up the freebie on the way out as Haunter locks him up, but Keen chasing with Adrian as Altec gets escorted out, but now TSM turn on to the rest of them. Just trying to find a pickup. Someday buffers the EQ out, but Haunter's ulti might be able to grab one left and gets Altec out of the way, but Adrian's still getting chased. Bjergsen gets played back in. Adrian stunned. Double is just letting loose as Bjergsen does kill Adrian. Haunter able to pick up Altec, and TSM barely win the fight.
Keen wasn't able to follow the caravan track through the jungle there, so no Talia damage was present when they finally met up at the other end.
That's a great way of describing that little chase through the jungle. Altec nearly making the great escape, but because TSM was able to stay grouped the whole time, by the time they actually did collide, they had the advantage. Someday did play that so well in the early phases. Watching this one more time, it is a Rift Herald take into an immediate pounce by TSM, flashing over the wall, not quite getting the stun, but still blocking a lot of the moves with Miasma to give TSM the good start to this play.
As you can see on the minimap as well, Keen trailing from the beginning here as Altec runs them through the loop. Someday's got a pretty easy solo killer on Sven. The jungler, nice target for a solo lane Jarvan. Yep. But here's where it turns. Haunter has the support of the rest of his team right behind him, so he can engage. Gets a couple of knockups here. Altec gets exhausted, still in range of the Lantern though. And with that hook onto Bjergsen, if all members were present, maybe there was a hope of another combo with the Talia and, you know, bursting out the Cassiopeia. But as you said, not everybody there, and TSM are able to win by superior numbers.
Gold actually goes back to even after a little play, but TSM still playing from behind. They're going to try and take this strength this time. Transparent smites it away. Shrimp not in the area to try and get it, but instead, Dignitas going to try and trade for this Rift Herald.
Yeah, hard time imagining TSM stopping this one as they just kind of go back 2 lanes. And the timer we talked about earlier, right? Team Dignitas is making plays now to try and gain that lead, and they have a turret lead, but the fact that there is so much farm on the Kog'Maw, so much farm on the Casio, and a 3-kill Maokai signals some pretty scary things come late game if you're Team Dignitas.
Yeah, you do always feel like gold leads born of turrets are very unstable. And since this gold lead is maybe 100...
Oh! That was such a nice cancel from Biofrost. Silly mistake there from Shrimp, and Adrian's going to pay for it as well. Double Lift over to take him down, but Keen rides the wall. Bio hooks over, but Sven, he's going to fall to Keen.
All right, they've got one extra kill here, but Bjergsen is seen on the wards trying to make his way up, so there will be no continuation there.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, teleport's not available.
Exactly. One of the big differences with this game for Keen's Talia is there's no Kassadin to follow with teleport. So when he uses the Weaver's Wall, it's unmatchable by Bjergsen unless he has tremendous pressure in that mid lane. And someday, looking to make a 1-2.
Oh, the stun lands, but the shove still goes through. Bjergsen trying to chase it out, not going to get it. He'll burn by Keen, but Someday gets the kill.
Fancy moves there by Someday. He just keeps him inside the Cataclysm long enough for Keen to arrive and secure the kill. Team Dignitas, they are fighting to keep hold on this game and on this series.
Well, so far so good. Gold lead still up for Dig, but it's not a particularly large lead. TSM, though, do need to find some of this gold that is banked up in these turrets. It's one thing to say that, you know, turret gold leads are unstable because they are, but if you never take the turrets, all of a sudden the game turns around very quickly.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, Pastry, when it happened, but it's worth re-hitting on the fact that Shrimp had his Rift Herald channel interrupted by Biofrost. That's the big catalyst for that fight in the top lane. Even if you're in fog when you cast the Rift Herald, it casts in front of you, and it's not invisible. So as soon as he saw the Rift Herald being channeled, Biofrost goes, I'm interrupting that immediately. Alt gets the interrupt, and then the fight erupts.
Yeah, it has to be Rift Herald. Sauron not on Summoner's Rift. If there's a giant purple eyeball, just throw some crowd control that way.
Well, success there from TSM and great presence of mind from Biofrost to make the play. Still, TSM eventually lose that top outer turret. Gonna need to find some ground here in these side lanes. Kind of break the map open because we're now 20 minutes in. Baron is up. The next Drake will be Infernal, and TSM, despite having good farm and keeping the gold lead even, have a real disadvantage currently in terms of total map geography. And if Dignitas can keep their hold on this game and snowball it through the mid game, that is a recipe for taking this one.
Right, and another recipe in Dignitas victories this split has been there. So they have this map control advantage based on mid lane and top lane turrets being destroyed. If they can get wards in there and get a pick or two against TSM, that's the type of lead that could actually pay forward into a victory. But this is an incredibly important moment for them to execute.
They got vision on Someday there with the sapling, and Bjergsen wants to collapse on this. It's going to be difficult, and Someday has definitely been slippery on this Jarvan, but Bjergsen still kind of goes for the minions instead, and they let him walk by.
Yep. Hunter just chills out, does spot him.
Pass each other like ships in the middle of the day, where they just see each other and walk past.
That is where we are. As you can see, a bit of unspent gold there between the bot laners mostly, but Alzek and Double Lift should be powering up soon. Runins should be on the way for Double Lift. And there's most of it with 2 daggers and a zeal. And Static Shift now done for Altec after the Essence Reaver, so building up a lot of early crit. Even Shrimp with his completed item actually has a Zonya's already done. This game is much closer for Dignitas as far as that gold goes. Still ahead by about 1,000 in this game, but balanced pretty precariously given how these first 2 games have gone. Dignitas need to speed it up at some point. We'll see exactly where they pick their moment to try and break open the game.
Yeah, Rageblade Kog'Maw is terrifying in team fights, if not CC chain, but so much of this is down to execution and who starts the fights. The burst damage, as we've seen for the majority of Team Dignitas' kills, is there. They just have to land that first piece of CC in order to get the kills.
Yeah, people talk often about crit multipliers and 80 carry builds synergizing, compounding with every extra item you get. Xayah actually, the reason why almost all of her builds include that Essence Reaver, the cooldown for your Blade Caller makes it feel so good, even with just the Static Shift completed. Having that extra cooldown and the burst damage you talk about really does show up in the fights.
Well, TSM positioning around the left side of the map. Infernal Drake up in 50 seconds. So not a rush to the area just yet. Just having a quick glance at all the summoner spells. Everything is available, so TSM feeling confident enough with their item completions to try and start a fight if Dignitas give them the opportunity.
They did spot Haunter off in the top side to know of a potential flank that could be coming in, but he's righteous glorying.
Speeding up, finds Shrimp, that's the early route. Good Sonya's though, as Haunter gets straight to the back line. Shrimp still taken down as Bjergsen able to pick him off. Damage there from Keen and the rest of Dig though, as Altec burns the pedestal for a bit of extra AoE. Double lift. Got kind of low in that exchange, but TSM, they do get the pick.
Yeah, they get the kill, and then Biofrost puts up the Unbreakable. Oh, here goes a wall to split them off.
TSM is protecting their Cassio. Wave is gone. Bjergsen now tanking the turret. Walls goes down, and Bjergsen with a good amount of sustain from that E. TSM able to get out there.
Okay, Infernal Drake number 2 is up, and Shrimp as a jungler is still down. So TSM trying to move their mid priority towards the Drake. This gives up some Baron vision, which is very important.
It is probably just going to be vision, though. As you said, you know, the jungler's down, has to walk all the way from base, and Team Dignitas might pick up a few scraps here in the jungle and kill off a few wards.
Yeah, notice the respect as well, as TSM knows where the threats are going to be. Everyone peels off except the Maokai, who has teleport, to finish off that Infernal Drake, because they do not want any type of uncertainty or loss in mid lane priority when it concerns this Baron.
Fourth turret claimed though by Dig. TSM will finally answer with their first turret of this game as they take down mid. One more snake required. They're going for the pick and set up to Adrian. Turret falls. Adrian, CC on the left side is going to fall down. Double lift able to get credit for that kill. And now Someday kind of trapped in the wrong area.
He's trying to lure them away from Baron, it looks like. Maokai ultimate comes down, though.
Haunter again speeds in with the Righteous Glory, but gets stopped by a great cocoon from Shrimp. TSM's next engage will be thwarted again. TSM taking the gold and still building it up.
That's a pretty significant chunk onto the jungler, and TSM are probably going to have to heal after that one. Dignitas not letting them just walk away from that fight. Even though TSM continue to accrue extra kills, Dignitas holding on to that very thin gold lead.
We know where they're going to be trying to focus right here. One thing TSM has done here in the last 2 minutes is attack the playmakers of Team Dignitas very well. Dig needs the cocoon or the death sentence to land, and TSM's running towards that face first with their tanks, getting the initiation, because they'll win in a straight up 5v5 brawl. They start losing when they get spread and picked off.
Yep, smart by TSM to stagger their recalls as well. Kind of get everyone shopping in at the opportune times. Double Lift goes back. He has a build water. Seraph got completed by Bjergsen, so his third item is now done. And maybe most critically is Svenskeren finally finishing his first item after the jungle enchant with the Night's Vow now enchanting Bjergsen. So TSM are ready for a fight, and Dignitas, they probably wanted to be a little more ahead than they are right now at this point. TSM only 1,500 gold behind, and again, TSM still have many turrets to take if they get the opportunity. Adrian flash plays great box flash out from under it by Bjergsen. Good bit of patience there to escape the pick, but now down the flash.
Yeah, I mean, that is a fairly high value flash trade right there. Getting one of the carry flashes down for a team fight can be extremely meaningful, but it definitely needs to be Team Dignitas, focusing on Bjergsen and trying to capitalize on that ability, because Bjergsen has been able to put out tremendous amounts of DPS when left unattended.
Yeah, and pretty tanky on this Cassiopeia. 2,000 health, 104 magic resist thanks to that Abyssal Mask, as well as a large shield that is going to come through from his Saracen Grace. So you're talking about 2,500, 2,700 effective health in
There
fight.
goes Haunter. Attempt number 2 does get another flash, and that was easier to get off. Oh!
Pick there, but no follow-up, no Shrimp actually landing their
CC
cocoon.
chain.
Now move back in, but Haunter's just fine. We'll start the fight. Better stop from out, they might keep him safe, but Haunter's just taking a little too much. Oh my god, how did he live? But Bjerg gets hooked and taken down by Shrimp. The answer is there. Shrimp goes down, but Someday found the flank. He's on the double lift, who does have his flash, but he's going to stand at the seismic shot, though. He's going to force the flash later. There's a shutdown from Someday. It's a massacre as Dignitas trying to win the back end of the fight. Sven, now the next target. Everyone's getting picked off here, and they grab it. Dignitas with a huge team fight.
Will they get Haunter as well? They have him on a ward.
Should be the ace here. Keen walls in. Haunter nowhere good to go. Oh, very nice little twisted advance. Out from under the shove. Haunter flashes the wall, but Someday makes sure that kill goes over. That's an ace for Dig.
That's huge for Team Dignitas. In that fight, Double Lift did not flash the seismic shove. And saving it till afterwards just meant that Someday could answer flashes and take him down without that DPS. Dignitas now with an option to go for Baron. Shrimp is on the way.
The CC chain was real, but Haunter spent about 15 seconds of dig time chasing him down. If TSM is to stop that, that time would be crucial, but Dig knows their Baron timings, they're going for it.
Yeah, Baron maybe a little too much here. Bifrost, can he make a play? No, Smite does secure it there. TSM not able to get to the area. And now Dignitas with a gold lead and a Baron buff.
What a critical team fight for Team Dignitas here. And again, the CC chain is on display. Adrian starts it off with the hook. Shrimp's got an angle from over the Raptor pit, and that allows Keen to set up the seismic shove.
Yeah, and the TSM carries were actually so separated from Haunter until Haunter was extremely low. Crucial hooks by Adrian. The flash heat burn from Bjergsen with his flash into that hook is really the deciding moment in that fight, as well as that seismic shove from the end.
Exactly. Once Bjergsen dies to the initial chain, that means Doublelift is the only DPS left, and him saving the flash till after the seismic shove meant that Someday finishes off the other DPS member, allowing Team Dignitas to grab the Baron they have now. Let's see what they can do with it, though, because the series continuing kind of rides on this and how much they can pressure with this extra buff.
TSM still out on the map trying to pressure, but you can see Dignitas awfully good when they get Baron. And now with this burst on, we'll see what damage they can do. TSM still have a few turrets left to defend, but this tier 2 in bot lane looks remarkably unhealthy.
And it's all about that skill shot accuracy still. Yes, they do have that 5,000 goldie, but they don't have, say, an Infinity Edge power spike on Altec yet. The fight still could go either way, but the CC chains are real. Haunter was looking for a flank.
Also getting dunked, but he's going to get caught here looking for the flank. Just falls down to Shrimp, as TSM don't have enough to find their tank and protect him.
These picks into seismic shoves have been so critical because no longer can Haunter, tank 1v5 like the days of old. The rest of the team not there to protect him, and Dignitas will take the turret after.
Also, as a tank, even if you're laning against Jarvan, you have to have Mercury treads against these CC chains. It's not allowing him to disengage the Ninja Tabi being punished hard.
Great wall there as well from Keen. He's going to give them this turret. Dignitas should be able to take the inhibitor as well, with Haunter still dead for 15 seconds. TSM not interested right now in defending it, and Dignitas come out with the prize.
So Dignitas pounce, an Infernal up as well. That can give them the second one, and we call all the way back to early on in the game when Shrimp stole that one Infernal. How nice is it now that TSM doesn't already have a double stack, but it is Dignitas that will be able to have it.
Sven gets in there for a steal.
He's going for it. Oh, he doesn't get it. Zaya able to grab the Drake. Sven shoved back in, but Shrimp kind of caught out. He's going to get rooted, but the Great Dundies again. As Sven's ulti gets immune. Lantern keeps him safe as Someday threatens the flank and forces them away. That hook does not find Haunter, but TSM get nothing off that exchange.
The Moby Boots are zooming in. They're thinking about threatening this, knowing how low they are.
Cocoon lands.
CC chain!
Seismic shove. My hands are not enough, but Haunter's going to dive back in. He's dead once more. Altec able to claim his life as Someday tying up Sven, who's also going to go down.
He's got ult!
Big dunk by Bjergsen. He flashes into the Raptor pit. He's barely going to live it. Bifrost and Doublelift are going to try and fight. This is the spot Doublelift knows very well. There's the shutdown double, trying to save the game for his team.
That was a lot of Kog'Maw damage. With Rage Blade, Hurricane, Blade of the Ruined King, all the multi-hits coming through. Kind of an insane stand there by Doublelift and Biofrost because everything was falling against him thanks to the CC chaining of Team Dignitas.
One of the reasons they went for that fight, even after they had not been able to go back and purchase, was this big minion wave on top as well, though. Big were buying time for. This is the escape, which was also pretty slick. Shrimp able to get his Zonias off so that the Rek'Sai ultimate doesn't damage him and buys time for Adrian to get him out with a Dark Passage. Someday disengages after the teleport, but remains close enough to land the slows. And that's all that they needed to start this chain off with. Slows them into the cocoon hit, into the hook from Adrian, into the seismic shove, which gains so much distance. And that separation between the tank and their DPS means that Dig do get to follow.
And then right here, Biofrost having Unbreakable to allow Doublelift to just unleash, and then the Knight's Vow re-healing up Biofrost for all the damage Doublelift is doing. The dynamic duo saved there as everyone else for TSM was out of the fight.
Yep, so Doublelift and his Squire not quite enough to turn the fight all the way around, but that was close, and TSM, despite being still very far behind in gold, position to maybe take over a late game team fight. Dig with Baron, though, has been a real story of their season, especially the back half, and this game is well within their grasp to try and take over. TSM still fighting super minions in the bot lane.
Yeah, these are the types of games we were expecting more of coming into this series, which was predicted to be fairly close. So Dignitas never saying die right here, puts themselves on a clock, makes it so they have to make plays, and they have been making them for a lot of this game.
Another great wall from Keen's going to give Dig this next turret, maybe. Not quite enough. Miniwave getting melted, and none of those CCs land. Skill shots not quite true there for Dig. We'll have to call off that Baron.
Team SoloMid need to come up with a solution for these picks, because it's time and time again. This has been 10 times in a row here where Team Dignitas are able to land either a hook or cocoon to start things off and chain CC one of the tanks, one of the frontliners, into the team. Whether it's Mercury Jets, as you said, Jat, or QSS, or even a Mikhail, something. There has to be some sort of solution.
There's one man on this team with Mercury Treads, and it's Svenskeren. Bjergsen can't do it, which is why often you see Cassiopeia with Cleanse, but Bjergsen decided to go for the heal this game, and Double If still itemizing damage could maybe build the QSS you expected out of Kog'Maw. They have so much faith, Kobe, in their ability to dodge these skill shots, but Dignitas has been landing them.
The only other option would be to fully commit once your team member gets caught. And kind of use the time of your tank being CC'd and then DPSing the tank for your backline to actually move up and get damage out. But because the distance, the seismic shove is creating between the tanks and the teams, Team Dignitas don't even let you have that option, and TSM are having a hard time following up, even when someone does, get picked and starts tanking.
Well, we have a breather briefly at this stage of the game. Bot inhib is about to respawn for TSM. Baron is up in 25 seconds, so TSM have a little bit of time to kind of get their act together. Haunts is still kind of doing his work in that top side, needs to clear out what he can. It's actually Bjergsen that feints down to clear out these waves because he does it quicker. But TSM know that there's another Baron up in 10 seconds. The Dignitas will not hesitate to go straight to the objective.
Someday's got the top wave pushing. This is just where they want all the minions. Bottom is about to crash in onto the Nexus turrets. Top is up at the inhibitor turret. Team Dignitas do have the positioning advantage.
Well, pops the talisman and doesn't make a play. It's a pretty critical cooldown, but the minions actually have a respawned inhibitor, but it is a super minion, so that inhibitor will need to be defended if TSM keep doing this mid lane dance.
Let's see if Dignitas can actually keep TSM on that leash without being punished, because Haunter also is looking for an aggressive play. He has flash available.
8 flashes up in the game right now. Just Adrian and Bjergsen who are without. They might actually look to force Baron here, because remember, they're on the clock here. They do not want to dance around.
Gonna have to force something. Dignitas poke in, but TSM don't go there just yet.
Super minion is doing its work. The inhibitor is up there at maybe 10% life left, and TSM is starting up the Baron.
It's gonna die, yeah. TSM all or nothing on this Baron play. Looks for the fight. Haunter tries to turn it back around, but Dig disengaged well. Great seismic shot finds 2. Bjergsen again gets hooked. That should be enough. As Someday assassinates Haunter. Bjergsen is gonna go down, but Double If finally falls on the other end of the fight. A very clean team fight started and now ended by Dignitas. Sven, the only one left.
How does Adrian keep finding these hooks onto Bjergsen time and time again? That's going to be Dig, keeping the series alive.
Flashless Cassio was enough. Dignitas come alive as Someday TP's in next to King Strip. Going to join the rest of the squad as they can take down the Nexus. We have a series. Dig win game number 3.
Adrian was not done with TSM. He said he wanted them in the semifinals matchup, and he definitely found them over and over and over in this game.
17 assists on the 19 kills. Had an oopsie early on in the game, giving up first blood in the turret when they tried to dive. For a lot of this game, it felt like TSM